Good morning guys. Today we are off to check out Ayutthaya, which is the ancient city of Thailand. So first things first, we are going to go to Hualongphong station to grab a train to Ayutthaya. It's coming in at 8:30, so it's 7:40 now. We're going to rush over and make it in time hopefully. Hualongphong train station, and this is quite interesting. So we have not really planned this trip out to the T at all. Actually, we've done zero planning, but we do know that we really want to cover Ayutthaya. So we're here. We know the first step is to take a train to Ayutthaya. We don't know what we're going to do when we get there. We might be successful, we might not, but we're going to try anyways. Let's see how this goes. The ticket is 245 baht per person, and when you come here as a foreigner, they do ask you for your passport, which we didn't have. At which point I think Shehan, you were asked to put in your details into the computer as well. So I don't think it's necessary, but you might want to carry it just in case. Have arrived in Ayutthaya. It is really hot. That's my first impression. The main attractions in Ayutthaya are spread out between 6 different sites, so you do need a way to kind of get around to all of them. It might be easier if you book a tour, but we are going to try and do this ourselves. We're now outside asking around for prices, so the best way to get around here is by bicycle or by motorbike. Bicycle is about 50 baht per day, and the motorbikes seem to be going at around 200 baht. They say that the police are managing the price and you can't find any for less, so we might just settle for that. There is also a tuk option for 1200 baht where they take you to all the places and they wait with you as well, which is also another option if you don't want to drive yourself around. Ayutthaya was the second capital of Thailand, or Siam as it was known back in the day, and it was around for 400 years from around the 14th century to the 18th century, and it was a flourishing kingdom which was the center of commerce and diplomacy. Right now we are at one of the major sites, Wat Mahathat. This temple is also home to one of the most iconic sites in Ayutthaya. During the invasion of Siam by the Burmese, many of the city's Buddha statues were vandalized. It is speculated that this Buddha head became entwined in this banyan tree after a thief had placed it there and never returned for it, only for nature to claim it and cradle it amongst its roots in this upright manner. It is one of the most visited and most photographed sites in all of Ayutthaya. This is only the first temple we have visited, but so far it's really stunning. There are lots of Buddha statues and amazing structures. Some of the spires are quite ornate, I would say, and to be expected from that era. It's very impressive. So now we are at Wat Ratchaburana, and the most interesting part from this temple is the central spire here, which used to be a crypt for one of their kings, and he was buried here with a lot of his valuables. I personally find the influences from these ancient structures very interesting because, and I might be wrong, This structure almost has a Mayan influence to it, or a look to it, the way it's been built in like a steep height. And there's also quite a few Sri Lankan Ceylon style stupas around as well. I find that so intriguing. The other really beautiful structure here is the main sermon hall, and I can only imagine what it would have looked like back then, because even now as we walked in we were just like awestruck at just how stunning and vast the place was.
We are at Wat Phra Ram and we're checking out their AR feature, which gives you like a look at what it might have looked like some time back. This is something we suggested doing for Sigiriya like 4 years ago maybe. It's pretty cool to see it implemented here, and I think it can be done back home in Sri Lanka too.
It's a bit difficult to see it actually.
But this is a very basic version that they've done, and then it shows up.
Ooh.
Yeah. But that's about it. Like, there's no other information. What would be cool is if you could include information in it as well. Props to them for trying this out even.
So we are at our third temple. This one is Wat Phra Ram. It is one of the 6 most important sites that you have to visit in Ayutthaya. Although this one is a smaller site that you can cover very quickly. It's kind of my favorite so far because it's very quiet and there aren't a lot of people here. I did some research actually on the type of architecture. Turns out this type of architecture is referred to as Khmer architecture, and it originates from Cambodia. So if you think about Angkor Wat and the complex architectural structures, you can start to draw some similarities between the two. So that's where the style of architecture actually originates from. Wat Phra Ram is also a crypt and was built by one of the kings for their father. Unfortunately, it was completed much later on. So this dates back to about 1300s. We were so tired after our first 2 temples because it was around noon, and it's totally not recommended to be out and about in Ayutthaya at this time. It's extremely hot. Now it's a bit better because it's around 2. But we did stop for lunch and we were so hungry and exhausted, we completely forgot to film it for you guys. But I can tell you where we ate. It's basically the cafe that's right opposite Wat Mahathat. So you can't miss it, and the food was great. You know, I thought that it was just really hot in Bangkok because it's like a concrete jungle. But turns out it's super hot everywhere in Thailand, and Ayutthaya is really hot, even though it's very green and open air, unlike the city. So it's definitely recommended that you carry a lot of water with you, and we were so exhausted by exploring those first 2 places at noon time. Definitely not recommended. Try to avoid that noon time period and try to have your lunch break then. So carry your water, stay out of the sun at 12 noon, and yeah, other than that you're good to keep exploring. So this is Wat Phra Si Sanphet, and I hope I did that name justice. But this temple is the holiest temple of all the royal complex in Ayutthaya, and it was considered the most beautiful and the most grand temple in the whole region. And I can see why. This place is stunning. It actually blows my mind how beautiful it is. And this temple actually served as the model for the temple of the Emerald Buddha in Bangkok. Now I can understand why, but that is also how highly regarded this temple is. But seriously you guys, this is just unreal. So we are now at Wat Chaiwatharanam, and I want to just bring your attention to how almost Hindu the name sounds. So this temple was built in the 1600s by King Prasad Tong in honor of his mother, and it was conceived to be a replica of the Angkor Wat temple in Cambodia. So there's a lot of Khmer style architecture and Cambodian influence in the entirety of the Ayutthaya kingdom's structures, which I find very interesting. So the unique thing here is the central prang, which is the tallest one, surrounded by the smaller ones, and they're supposed to symbolize Mount Sumeru, which is a Hindu god. So again we see the cross-cultural influence, which I find so interesting in this region and in this time period. Unfortunately, out of the 6 most important sites, we were only able to cover 5 because our train is leaving at 6 and it is 5 o'clock and we need to rush. So here's to hoping we make it to our train and make it back to Bangkok. But I really hope you guys are able to gain a little bit of an idea on how you could spend one day here. I definitely think you guys can do all 6 in one day very easily. It's just that we take double the amount of time in every location because we're trying to fill. So definitely a doable activity. Let's see if we make it back to our train. Okay, we are rushing. We have to turn left here. We have to turn, go straight, go straight, go straight. So we are rushing back to the train station. We have to pump fuel before we return the bike. It is 4:45. We want to be at the train station by 5:30 latest. Seems like there's a night market being set up here as well. Something you can come check out if you're staying a couple of nights in Ayutthaya. We are also trying to outrun the rain, as you can see. Nice. And we found a petrol station.
Good news is we made it. Bad news is we are not traveling together.
Okay, so we have made it to the end of this vlog, and I would say we are super happy with our one day in Ayutthaya. We managed to cover a lot, and if you aren't filming like us, you wouldn't be taking so much time at each of the sites. So if you catch the morning train, which is at 8:20, you could definitely cover all of the 6 major sites and maybe even a few more of them. I would say one day out in Ayutthaya is successful. If you have time, it would be really nice if you can spend a couple of more days here, because you can slowly explore the rest of the city. It's a beautiful mix of the ancient city and the ancient architecture, plus the modern city that's come into being as well. And there's also some night markets and some beautiful parks, and it's a much more of a quieter and easygoing kind of city, and a different side of Thailand that you can experience here. So with that, that is the end of this vlog. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button, drop us a like, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!